now tuned in to the Cold Hard Truth, Cayman's #1 hard-hitting live podcast show, where we feature some straightforward conversations on political, social, and celebrity news and all things happening in the Cayman Islands and around the world. This show was created to give the people a voice and a means of being involved and informed without any filters. Sometimes it gets crazy, but we always keep it real. We bring you the tea, piping hot, so grab your favorite beverage and join the conversation via WhatsApp at 324-1612. Email tips at CaymanMarlRoad.com. Now, here's your host, Sandy Hill, broadcasting live from the beautiful Cayman Islands.
Good morning, Cayman. Rise and shine. How is everyone? Where are my sidekicks this morning? Where is Blake and Aaron? I'm actually missing them. I don't know where they're at. Let me see. Let me message and see what's going on. Oh, the link is updated. Let me see here now. They had a little bit of tech issues yesterday. I know it's not me, child, because I'm clicky-clacking over here with flu. So, plus all of you could hear me. So I'm like, that's strange. The connection on this side was a little bit off. So people leaving young children in vehicles again. Somebody just sent me that message this morning. Two kids left in the car last night. I don't know. Kids can be tricky, man. You gotta be very, very careful leaving them in a vehicle by themselves because they can get into mischief, which means all sorts of things can happen. I think when you go grocery shopping, it's probably never a good idea because, I mean, number one, you're always in there longer than you think, right? And things just happen in the grocery store to delay your trip. I feel like I have sinuses again. Oh, there they are.
Big news. I have some important news for you. Interesting news.
It's Blake and Aaron's Spilling the Tea with Sandy.
Cayman's top news headlines of the day from CMR.
Good morning, Sandy. How are you?
Good morning, Blake and Aaron. How are you?
Great.
We are good.
Fabulous.
What's news headlines this morning?
What's going on?
So, first of all, we'd like.
Really?
Yeah,
Sorry.
The internet was was on our end yesterday.
Yeah,
I knew it. I was just telling people we got flow solidness over here, and in the country.
Our flow was not solid.
We wanted to extend our condolences to the family of the former governor, Stuart. He has passed away. 72 years old, a retired British diplomat. You guys might remember he was the governor from 2005 until 2009. Had a very fulfilling career, it looks like. And he served as the chief scout of the Scout Association right here in the Cayman Islands since October of 2006. The governor issued a statement, as well as Premier Panton, both expressing their sadness to hear of his passing.
Yeah.
So it happens, unfortunately.
It does.
Yeah.
Don't want to think about it.
A lot of people were fond of him, I think, until the Operation Tempura thing, and then they kind of wondered what went wrong there.
Oh.
So,
never mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Jamaican traveler Stephanie Clark, 29 years old, was sentenced to 4 months in jail yesterday.
Okay.
After
It's a
she was
long
found,
time.
after she was found guilty of knowingly coming into the Cayman Islands with a positive COVID result. Remember this one?
I do remember that
so
story.
she's going to jail for 4 months now.
4 months, you're going to jail because you boarded the plane knowing you were positive.
Yep.
I mean,
this is one of those stories that I never quite understood how it happened. But
I
she
still
went
don't.
through
Yeah, how did she get
2
on the
checkpoints.
plane?
That's the $1 million question.
So why is it?
Cayman Airways has never really answered that question. It would be
So now
nice.
it's all on her though because she was able to board the flight. I mean, I get what she did, but
4 months. That seems a little. I mean, I don't know. That seems a little harsh.
it does seem a little harsh.
I mean, I know people have done way worse that don't go to jail for stuff.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Hopefully she'll get out
I mean,
quicker, but I mean, you don't obviously.
Okay, you're gonna get 30 days. 30 days. All right.
I mean, I think I learned my lesson after like 1 week in jail.
Yeah.
Like I never want to do that again.
10 days. Yeah, something. I don't know. 4 months.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens.
Me of it.
Yeah. Poor thing. Yeah. Well, she's. I guess they wanted to still send a message that you can't be breaching COVID regulations or any regulations, but especially when you're.
How about all those tickets? How about all those prosecutions?
Warrant for prosecution.
Yeah, warrant for prosecutions. What
are they
happened to all
working
those?
their way through those? That's going to be.
Listen, I got to be honest with you, Blake. They take a while because the court system is inundated with probably more important cases. Okay. So even now, when I sit in court, I still see COVID breaches popping up from like the original March.
And what's happening to them?
Most of them, it depends on what the breach was and what the law said at the time. So some of them got caught when it was just like a fine, so they get fined. And I think others might still be facing potential jail time. Remember, there was the one lady who left quarantine knowing her kids were positive. They were Georgetown primary children. She went out selling food. Her case is still making its way through the system, but she's got bigger problems because I think later this week she's actually due for sentencing on a robbery. Not sentencing, but a verdict on a robbery case. So.
Oh, okay.
I'll update it on that. So probably a COVID breach is no big deal.
Meh. I mean, why can't we just do like community service? Like go pick up the trash over here for 30 hours. Like I just don't,
Yeah, sometimes they give you community service.
Yeah.
It depends on what it is.
I feel like we should get more community service and putting less people.
Yeah. How about the lady who jumped on the Cayman Airways flight? Maybe she should get out there and
clean up some trash or something.
Yeah, wash the airplanes.
Wash the airplanes. No,
I don't know. Maybe sweep.
All right,
sweep the runway.
As of March the 1st, Carnival Cruise Line will make mask wearing. This is interesting. Optional for guests.
Optional.
Yes.
All right.
I mean, listen, you're already on the floating petri dish, so
I know. Why not just catch it?
Might as well.
So masks will remain. Some masks will remain recommended, but not required. And listen, people are dropping pretty much all COVID related precautions, which is very interesting.
I mean, I get it because it is time to. Everyone has to start moving on. There is no way. I mean, you see on the message boards, like CNS a lot. You see people saying, "Oh, well, we could go back to just making sure everyone tests, and then we keep it all out." No. And it's like, no, because we're just gonna end up in the same situation. Like we just have to do what we need to do to protect ourselves.
Keep moving forward.
We say get vaccinated, but at this point too, it's just kind of like we just got to keep going on and just get back to life. It's just
we'll see. It's probably good practice still to continue.
But if you want, it just seems to be like we're fighting a lot about over. It's like, hey, if I don't want to catch, I'm going to wear my mask. I'm going to go and protect myself.
It made sense early on, when it was the variants were a lot nastier, and now that they're not.
Well, I also think like cleaning your hands constantly with all that like sanitizer, like we do have to start taking care of ourselves. Like,
I will. I always do that.
No, you sanitize like even if you don't go anywhere. Like you just sit here and he's done this before COVID. This is like Blake's like MO is hand sanitizer.
Making me feel dirty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I watch him like clean his phone every morning too. He's like, ooh.
Hey, that's a nasty petri dish. Talking about petri dishes, your phone.
Well, the numbers continue to drop, folks, over the last 3 days.
Good.
We had numbers at 53, 40, and 39. So that's what public health released.
People aren't reporting anymore. That's what it is.
I think that's I think
it's both. You know,
I don't think it's accurate.
I think a lot. I don't think it's.
Yeah, I don't think so.
A lot of people had it, and then it kind of went down, and now
I do think they're going down, but I also don't think those numbers are accurate.
No.
And I think if there's another big wave, less people are going to even report it because of what the stories they heard.
Yeah.
And it's not.
We'll see. I mean, fingers crossed that we just don't get another, because, you know, the Omicron variant 2.0 or whatever it's being called is a little bit more contagious, not necessarily any more dangerous. So, I mean, hopefully we just stay within that, because the variants, you just never know. You know, we just have to continue encouraging people to get vaccinated if they haven't already.
Yep. And you know what? Today is 2/22. It's a palindrome.
Did you know today?
Oh, yes. It's 2/22/22 2022. Yeah. So the vaccine clinics for children for childhood vaccination, 5 to 11 years old, has now been set. So there's a schedule that went up yesterday in case anybody's interested. Public health at the hospital is going to be starting this Saturday. They kick off the clinic from 9 a.m. until 3 p.m. And then basically they seem to be doing like a Monday, Saturday, Monday, Wednesday, Saturday schedule. So we'll post that up later on so people can have all the schedule details. But it's not every day. So if you're interested, make sure you check out the schedule and see. They're doing some evening hours during the week and then some daytime hours on the weekend, it seems like.
Okay.
All righty.
Yeah.
Did you know that today is also National Margarita Day?
No, I did not know that.
You think Aaron has coffee in that cup?
I wish it was a margarita. Delicious. That's like all I craved when I was pregnant with my second. I was like, oh,
no way.
And it was the most it was kind of like terrorizing me because I really wanted a margarita, but you know, you couldn't do it.
You could have a virgin margarita.
It doesn't taste the same. I wanted a real strong margarita.
Really? That's crazy.
Yeah.
So thank God you didn't have any addiction issues, because that could have been a crazy pregnancy for you.
Well, I mean, I do, but no,
Aaron did not drink at all. It was just the heavy smoking. That was. All right, Sandy, we'll see you tomorrow.
All right. I hear you guys been busy, by the way. Birdie told me.
What's that? A birdie told you? Yeah, we've been very busy. I spent my entire weekend over underneath the Logic Tower.
I know. I heard.
They begged me to get on it, but I was like, maybe 20 years ago I would have climbed that 300-foot tower. Not today.
Looking at it, no way.
Soon come.
Yeah, but the stations will be up one day.
Yeah.
Awesome.
It was a hard hat area, actually.
Did you have to wear a hard hat?
Yeah. Did you not follow me on Insta? You didn't see my Insta stories? I have not
been on really.
Did you see my Insta stories?
I don't think I follow you on Instagram, believe it or not.
What the hell is going on right now?
Do you know what Instagram? I hope they're going to go into the.
What is it?
I don't know. I don't get it.
What is your IG handle? Everybody's going to follow you.
Blake Rogers Radio.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can find you.
I think I unfollowed you.
Blake Rogers.
Well, I'm ending
this.
Oh,
there you are. There you are, Blake. You got 486 followers.
Huh?
486 followers. I see you.
Yeah. I could use a few more.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm not following you. No, I'm joking. I am. I am.
Oh, yours actually looks like fun to follow. All right. I'll follow you.
Well, thanks, Sandy. Appreciate it.
Oh, you have a fan. Louis Rivers also likes the 2/22/22.
Oh,
so there you go.
Louis.
You guys can celebrate today.
Yeah, people like numbers that are what are they called? Those
palindromes.
Yes.
Yeah, it's the same frontwards and backwards.
I think the human brain just likes a pattern.
Mm-hmm.
Totally.
Yeah.
All right,
All right, guys. Have a beautiful day.
Bye-bye.
Bye. All right, my good people. Time to kick off the cold hard truth. It is Truthful Tuesdays. I kind of chuckle at that because we're truthful every day over here on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, Fridays, Mondays, even on the weekend. Someone said to me this weekend, they messaged me on Saturday, and they're like, would you consider doing a Saturday show? Because I miss waking up to you. I was like, aw, that's so sweet, but no. Sometimes I do other production stuff on Saturdays. Like I might record some of the editorial content, which I want to do way more of. I think I want to do like 1 or 2 of those a week on topical issues. You know, sometimes people don't have a minute to sit down and watch an entire 2-hour show. Oh, Lord, yesterday we went into overtime over 3 hours. And then there are times when I want to, separate out a specific topic of discussion. So somebody was mentioning, you know, because I wear glasses now, you guys get the little glare from the computer screen. I do believe that, see, if I tilt like this, you don't really see it. You have to be like a 45-degree angle or something to kind of make that glare, ooh, dirty glasses, disappear. There's actually a bit of a science to it. But I'm waiting on Marlon to move my computer for me because I've got this big CPU here on my desk. But I need him to move that because I got a new board that's coming, hopefully on Thursday. And then I got all sort of stuff going on, getting ready for the radio show because I need more gadgets to make it happen. Some of it's like software driven. Some of it's hardware driven. I need to figure out for my microphone because now I can plug this mic directly into the board. And so I can adjust levels on it. Oh my gosh, we're getting so fancy around here. Fancy schmancy. Getting some proper equipment. But I need to find out if I have the cable. You know what? I'm going to ask Marlon that question. It's a good Marlon question. Do I have an XLR cable? He's going to be like, how would I know? XLR cable. I can't remember if it came with this microphone or not. I kind of feel like I better check my Amazon order to see. Anyway, good morning. Good morning. How are you guys doing? Let me go to Amazon. So yeah, someone said, I miss you on a Saturday. And I'm like, I miss you guys too, but that doesn't mean I'm going to do another show. It's a lot to talk, believe it or not. So Gianna woke up this morning and I said, Gigi, would you like some overnight oats? I went to the grocery store last night. And she's like, no, yeah, okay. So I was like, all right. So last time, apparently on the drive to work, she had good intentions of eating it, but they can be a little bit dry. So I added a little bit of milk and then I put some fruit on it for her. So I have the leftover, what's left of the overnight oats. Can I tell you guys, I'm so glad that the Ritz has reopened. I don't go to the Ritz. I've never been to any of their restaurants. I've never been to the Ritz Spa or anything of the sort. But the one thing I do really, really like about the Ritz is they have that little coffee shop across from them. And in that coffee shop, they have a overnight oats that is really good. They have a different recipe for that overnight oats. So I haven't been there in years. And I'm hoping now that they've reopened that the coffee shop hasn't changed the menu. Because don't you hate when you find something you really like on the menu, then all of a sudden they change it and you're like, what? So I think I'm gonna visit soon and see what's there. All right, so let me see here. So this came with replacement windscreen. I don't think I need one of those yet. So this is a USB or LXR connections, dual output digital and analog recording. Which one is that? The digital would be USB, I guess. But you see, the USB plugs directly into the computer. It can do, but I think it can go directly into the board as well. But I kind of get the sense that the XLR connection is actually better. This is where I need an audio guy, an audiophile. But I don't think I have an XLR connection, so I think I better order a cable on the internet. The thing about these things, folks, is, you know, oh, they actually have a desktop app? Are you kidding me? The things you just don't know. So it's got a headphone jack in the back, USB output, and XLR output to connect to any professional recording device or hardware. All right, folks, looks like I got some reading to do today, but in the meantime, I think I better just order the cable. Because, it's so hard. Sometimes in Cayman, the simplest connectors and cables that you need are the most difficult thing to find. Now, if I move the board, no, the board's going to go here. All right, let me look up an XLR cables. Yes, that's what I need. Oh, they got all sorts of cables and interfaces. So I've got the basic male to female microphone cable. One is $7.79 and then one is $29.99. Why am I paying so much more? Fully balanced premium mic cable. Gearlux Pro Audio. They sound fancy. But sometimes this is just wording, like you don't know. This is a 6-pack braided 25 feet. Oh, I don't need anything so long. I just need a little shorty cable. Like 6 feet would be plenty. Wow, some of these are pretty long. There's a 10-foot. And then there's can I just get a 6-foot? Is there any such thing? I need a 1-pack. And I don't need anything so long. Why are they all like 25 feet? Here's one. That's a 3-footer. This is a 6-pack. Again, I don't need 6. All right. Y'all trying to listen to me figure it out. All right. I will definitely do this. 6 feet. I mean, I'm like the mic is going to be right by it, so I could probably get away with 3 feet, to be honest. But maybe 6 feet just in case. But yeah, 3 feet. Yes. No. They're all like 25 feet. This is so weird. They have a 10-foot. That's a lot less than. Do they not just come in 3 feet? All right. We'll figure it out. Good morning, Miss Virtuous. Good morning, Barbara. The lovely Olivia and Marcella here. Hello, wee. Good morning, Carmely, COVID-free. Diana, Felicia. Oh, I know your name now, young lady. Let me tell you, I know your name. It bothers me that I can't call you by a name. So let me see if I got it. Hold on. Your name is, this is like a mystery. Kelly? I'm told by my sources that your name is Kelly. Hello, Kelly. Says that's breaching. How can the Caymanian person couldn't get that amount as well? Vanjie. Well, Vanjie got like 30 days or something. But listen, the law had actually changed, I think, between Vanjie and this lady. And this was a different offense as well. This was like coming into the country COVID positive. Vanjie also wasn't COVID positive. I mean, yeah, they breached the quarantine provisions when they got here, but to their credit, both him and Skylar had tested negative. This woman knew she had a positive test. We're going to talk about her in a second. Good morning, handsome Stephen. How are you? Good morning, Dawn. Brenda is all about those numbers. Brenda, I saw your beautiful daughter last night at the grocery store. I made a last minute run. Grocery stores don't open till 11 o'clock anymore. They open until 10. And I was at home. I needed to go and pick up something anyway. And I thought, I'll stop by the grocery store because I needed like fruits. And then, I got some coconut water. I should have gotten some coconut water this morning. So I got some strawberries and overnight oats. I got some special sausages for breakfast maybe this weekend. What else did I get? I love those Applegate products because they're like nitrate free and they're all free of all the preservatives and stuff that are probably what are really killing you in processed meats. Alex says, good morning, K-Man. Thank God for another morning. Hallelujah. The twos have it today. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Yeah, I need to adjust the screen for sure, but I don't have much wiggle room with the CPU because this CPU is pretty big. By the way, I now have the ability to add multiple cameras. So Misha, I need to message Misha. I'm going to grab my webcam back from Misha because Misha has a webcam. Although, I do have my, I'm not going to put in another heavy. I was going to say I have the Canon camera, but I think I'll just do, I will just do probably the webcam. Now I can do multiple cameras. So I'm going to show you guys like another angle in the morning. I'll be like, hey, good morning. Maybe we should have like a Govt cam, like one pointing outside, and whoever spots the Govt every morning gets a prize. I feel like he's going by, but I just don't see him anymore because of the blinds. Yeah. Oh man, speaking of an agouti, somebody sent me some video and footage of one this week, and I couldn't even look at it. Poor thing had gotten hit by a car, and they were like, Miss Sandy, who do I call? Unfortunately, by the time I saw the messages, he already had passed away, which there's probably little a vet could do in any event. But slow down a little bit, folks, because the agoutis are they? They're not native to the Cayman Islands. I don't know, where did they come from? How did they get here, do you think? But they're here. And I know some of y'all love to catch them and eat them, but I figure if you're not catching and eating them, allow them to live free. Happy Tuesday, Larry. Thank you. Thank you. Louis, Apple or Dell or HP for computer? What are you all choosing? I have an Omen. It's actually like a gaming PC because I need a lot of processing power to do what I do. I do a lot of things at the same time. Marlon hates it. He's like, you always have too many windows open, too much this. And I can tell when the computer's working a little bit extra hard, like certain things, like if I'm rendering a video or whatever, I can hear the motor speed up. And I'm like, okay, let me start closing some stuff. He always tells me that. He's like, close your windows, close this, close that. I'm like, what's the point of having this computer if I can't even have stuff open? But according to him, having Chrome windows especially is very resource intensive. I don't know. So, yeah. Anyway, we are going to be talking about a few things. Miss Brenda is suggesting the 6 foot. I agree with you. I think the 6 footer is more than enough. Sometimes it's a little bit tricky though. It's hard to find a 6 footer. I will continue to look. Thank you, Ms. Brenda. Aliano, good morning. Good morning, John. What's untapped today? I feel like I probably have one of these cables, and maybe I'll ask Marlon before I go buy another one. Because, man, how many of you have like a drawer full of cables? We have, I feel like, several. There is just cables upon cables. I mean, everywhere you look are cables. So I feel like one day I'm going to organize my cables. HDMI, I have a whole bag full of HDMI cables. But, everything you get comes with a cable. And sometimes there's redundancy because you already have that cable. And so you're like, I don't need another cable. And you just stick it in a drawer. Well, ooh, here's one that is a 5 foot cable. That's unusual. Most people do like in increments of like 3, 6, and then 10. This one's unusual. Now this one's expensive. Who is Megami? A 2549 professional studio microphone cable. Does the cable really matter for this? I wonder. Any audio people in the house? Balanced microphone cables. These are made in Japan. Provide the highest quality audio reproduction in the recording application. Nearly indestructible. They haven't met my daughter. These cables are the ideal choice for studios and stage performers. The cable is highly optimized for applications that entail extended high frequencies or long cable runs. These cables perform unparalleled performance in even the harshest environmental conditions. An office environment certainly wouldn't be the harshest environmental conditions. It's not like I'm outside in the bushes and and this African safari. This one seems a bit overpriced at $34.46. So it says it's built with the next generation of the worldwide accepted standard of XLR cable connectors. That sounds interesting. X series successor offers several new features that make it more reliable, easier to assemble. What am I doing assembling a cable? Oh, these require assembly? What? What are these people saying? Improved contact integrity and cable strain relief. Lord have mercy. This cable's too complicated for me. I just need to keep it simple. Wow. Who knew that? Here's a 10-footer by Gearlux. All right, we're getting closer to 6 feet. I saw the 25-foot. Now I see a 10-foot. I feel like I don't need anything more than that. And then they start to confuse you because then they're like XLR female quarter TS cable to this and that. I'm like, no, don't confuse me. I'm already confused. Mono price. What does mono price mean? Premier series XLR male to XLR female. Oh man, they just need to make it simple. But sometimes I tell you what, folks, cabling is important. I've seen this happen before. Even with we do the streaming boxes, and sometimes people have these cheap HDMI cables, and they're like, the picture quality and this and that. And I just walk in with one of mine, I go bloop bloop, and then they're like, wow, how did you do that? And I said, I've seen it all. I've seen it all. You just never know. Yeah. Now you see, this is where cable length. Oh yes, I can sort by cable length. Amazon is so awesome. I love Amazon. I'm in love with. If Amazon was a boyfriend, Amazon would be the. Oh, wait a minute. I don't think that's a good analogy because I'm the one spending the money on Amazon, so I'd be spending the money on my boyfriend. Oh no. That's probably not a good analogy. Anyway, Emma, good morning. So good to see you. Let's get into some meat and potatoes. What is this person sending me? The Air Transport Licensing Authority, appointment and reappointment of members. Woodrow Foster, that's Woody, I think. Joanna Bodden is the deputy chair. Andre Scott, Roland Jackson, Nicola McCoy. Nokella. Is it Nokella or Nicola? She spells it differently. Are all in the air transport licensing of air services regulations. Air transport. I feel like that's what do they do? License aircrafts? They probably have a pretty easy job because it's probably already done for them. All right. So let's talk about this woman. Good morning. Somebody's messaging me. Her name is Stephanie Clark. Now, Stephanie Clark was a little challenging to find a photo of initially. And we found one with her and her 2 daughters. And I don't like to put kids in photos. So I tried my best to remove the kids. And then somebody says, oh, girl, you need a better photo. And I said, hallelujah. They sent me her undercover Facebook name. You know what I find with people? This is interesting, but I'll tell you what people do now. So there she is. This is the initial photo. And then somebody said, no, honey child. There she is. I said, oh, Aunt Jemima, I got you, girl. I see you. I see you. And how would you say? I see you and raise you by 5 points. Good morning, Damaris. So this is, her name is Stephanie Clark. She's 20. I think she's now 29 years old. She's 28 last year. So she might still be 28 because her birthday might not have come yet in this year. Anyway, Stephanie says, in God, I put my trust. Yes, girl, you put your trust in God. Nothing wrong with that. I love it. He's going to see you through. And the good news is, oh man, there's an accident already. What the? Oh my God. Can y'all please just slow down and pay attention? All right. So Stephanie is going to be headed to jail for 4 months. Now, don't feel too bad for Stephanie because, listen, y'all remember how up in arms you were at the time that this happened. Now, Stephanie made a bad decision, a big boo-boo. Stephanie knew you could not enter the Cayman Islands unless you had a negative PCR test. And somehow Stephanie had a positive PCR test and she still managed to get on Cayman Airways after 2 checkpoints. And by the way, not for nothing, but I'm still waiting on Cayman Airways to explain to us how that happened. Because we all kind of felt like that's either some severe slackness, which I guess that's what it was, or somebody was in cahoots with her. Now, I don't think anybody's in cahoots with her. It's not like, she probably hasn't any connections to Cayman yet. But her and a male companion who were traveling together came in to the jurisdiction. And she was symptomatic at that. That's the part that kind of got me. I was like, no, girl. You can't be coming in this country and be symptomatic. What on earth? Are you kidding me? Who is this calling me from 547? All right. Good morning. We're on air. Are you trying to get on the show? This is Sandra. Okay, well, I'm live on air right now, so I'll definitely have to call you back if you don't want to go on air. That might be more difficult, but I'll call you after the show. I'm right in the middle of the show. Yes, ma'am. Okay, bye-bye. People are like, you in the middle of the show? I'm like, does everybody not know? Okay. Clearly, people don't know that we have a show in the morning. That there's 223 of you here right now. But don't worry. Bobo coming real soon. They can all know when we're on air. They're like, you got a show? You on air? I'm like, yes. But a lot of older folks don't really know because they ain't got no Facebook or anything. But don't worry, we coming. Bobo's coming to your radio station. Yay. Oh, speaking of which, I got to start working on getting my signs up once I have a launch date, hopefully March the 1st. Let me message Patrick. Good morning, Patrick. All right. You're going to put up some big billboards so y'all are not going to miss that we're live. So, yes. So this lady, Stephanie Clark, is now headed off to jail. Fairbanks, she'll be all right. For 4 months. Now she'll serve 60% of that. Somebody do the math for me. It's not a whole lot of time. By the way, I have an update for y'all. on the lady who's living in the laundromat. We do have some additional information on that, by the way. We have cracked the case. Yes. Someone said hopefully Stephanie will then be sent to Jamaica, sent back home. And I don't know if she will or not. I understand that she came in on a work permit for domestic. And there was some discussion around the court about how that work permit is no longer in place. And I think somebody else is trying to take out a work permit for her, because apparently that's what you do in the Cayman Islands. You come here, and whether you have a job or not, you get a work permit. This is what my daughter does sometimes when she's in disbelief. She doesn't do it as smoothly, but she's like, she starts rolling her eyes and she starts shaking her head. Child, sometimes all I can do is say, what a hot mess, and then just shake my head, because it is a little bit of disbelief, but I know it happens every single day. People get permits in this country like it's the easiest thing in the world. Anyhow, was she out on bail, but before getting sentenced? So everyone is on bail. So yes, everyone, once you're like arrested and charged, they let you out. Not everyone, but a lot of people are out on bail. They're out on some kind of like either your own recognizance or whatever. So they probably took her passport just to be safe. And yeah, but her bail doesn't count towards anything. So yeah, all this time she has been free, and I wonder how she's been surviving, because she's basically here as a visitor. I guess she's got friends, child. She does say in God she trusts, and he will take care of you, honey, child. Don't you worry. So she'll be all right. Cayman jail is like a walk in the park. That's a vacation, actually. She'll get fat up in jail. She'll get fatter because they're feeding you good. The Ugly Truth says didn't even get in the country and was already breaking the laws. Sounds like a good candidate for status. Whoa, the Ugly Truth, you and I, Zena. I'm willing to wager she will end up right back in Cayman on a work permit. Child, how you know? She'll be in somebody's house soon as a domestic or something. Soon CEO of some organization. I don't know. But Ugly Truth, I hate to tell you, but you are spot on. Yeah. It's kind of a different thing when you don't. I don't know. It's still breaking the law. Like I can't even make excuses for people anymore. Y'all are just lawless. Some of y'all are just lawless. But yeah, you haven't gotten here yet. You haven't gotten your foot wet in the Cayman community. And here you come entering the country illegally, basically. It's not a good look. So whoever is going to hire her, make sure you know she's not necessarily the type of person who likes to follow the rules. And that's important. We don't need any more lawless people around here. And I don't care how small the law is. Somebody says that she should have been given 4 years for what she was doing. I mean, listen, 80 something people on that flight, in case you guys do not remember. We're not trying to pick on this little lady here. But 80 something people in that flight were then subjected to enhanced quarantining and all sorts of foolishness. It was just crazy. Right? You guys remember this? She got on a plane with 83 other passengers, symptomatic, coughing, got COVID. Our Cayman Airways people somehow managed to let her slide right on through 2 checkpoints. And it wasn't until she got here and a CBC agent, upon checking like her immigration paperwork and stuff, they were like, okay, you got a work permit. That's an order, but you also got a COVID positive test. The whole airport had to go like in lockdown, and it was like people were scammering like, oh my God, we got a person who's positive in the airport. Remember, this was right around September. I think this was the same week that we discovered community spread, or like the week after. So this was not a good time to be trying to show up to the Cayman Islands being COVID positive. And then everybody in that plane had mandatory quarantine period extended, and were being monitored extremely closely afterwards. Stephanie, good luck in Fairbanks. It's an easy ride. Don't worry about it. You'll be all right. Like I said, you'll get a taste of some good cooking up there. Good luck. I ain't got nothing else to say about her. Catherine, good morning. Doreen, good morning, my dear. Emma is all about the numbers. She says that hope that means a day filled with blessings for all. And it's Tuesday, or maybe it's Tuesday. Hey, I got you. I'm not big into numbers like that. Oh, God, somebody else is calling again. Folks, don't call during the show. I'm on air. I feel like I shouldn't answer this one because they're going to be like, let me just say, I'm on air. And they'll be like, oh, you on air, honey child? Okay, I'll call you back later. Good morning, Miss Marjorie. I see you found us this morning. So nice to see you. She says that she hopes she'll never be back. Listen, we have a hard time trying to get rid of people, even when they break laws. 2.5 months? That's nothing. That's a walk in the park. Mind you, I couldn't. Oh, how many of you think you could do 2.5 months in jail? All your freedoms taken away. That is rough. Good morning, Miss Rosemary El Rey. Good morning. Said this work permit scam needs to be investigated. The most egregious part for me is so-called Caymanians are the ones who are doing it. And I say so-called because some are bona fide Caymanians, or some are Caymanians by, they've been given Cayman status. And so they come from countries where they do this sort of thing all the time. They don't have any respect for the laws. So yes, they are on a constant basis charging people. It's a money scam. Oh, I'll take out a work permit for you, but you got to pay me every month, or pay me a flat fee or whatever. Y'all need to start reporting these people. And you know what? We will gladly make them jackasses of the day once we have sufficient evidence on CMR. Breaking the immigration law doesn't help anybody. And they're so, I mean, I hate to call people dumb, but actually they are dumb because they don't recognize how it actually doesn't help them to have people here who have no work. Because most of them are going to do one or two things. Break the law, meaning they're going to be stealing from somebody, robbing someone, or they're going to be out there working illegally and taking work from people who could be like legitimately working. Y'all really need to think about it and stop the foolishness. Good morning, Bishop Hero Blair. So good to see you. Yes, everybody's doing fantastic. Miss Brenda says, I keep freezing. It's probably your internet, Miss Brenda. And I'm going to tell you why. Because we got some super duper speeds over here these days, courtesy of Flo. Because Flo has really, listen, y'all not been paying attention. They promised us by year end that they were going to have fiber everywhere. That I don't think has happened because I didn't hear a big announcement about it. And I feel like had it happened, I would have heard a pretty big announcement. But their internet penetration is increasing. And more importantly, the fiber penetration is really on point. So you can get fiber, I believe, all the way like north side. I know they got as far as like, what's that area Bordentown called? Northward. I know that they at least went down Northward Road. So, we're Savannah, Newlands, Lower Valley. So they got us covered. And then they've increased the fiber capacity, folks. You can get all a gigabyte of fiber. Now, if you don't know anything about speeds, let me just tell you in layman's term what that means. That just means it's super fast. Super, super fast. All right. So let's have a quick look here at this accident that just happened in Spots. I encourage you all to slow down, learn how to drive, because y'all are struggling. Do you think we should have a driving test every 5 years just to make sure people remember the road rules and they still know how to drive? I know a lot of y'all don't want to do that because you wouldn't pass. Truth be told. So this little car has managed to get hit by, was it the van? Virtuous Panook wants me to tell her which god. She said, listen, I'm not getting into all that because I have no clue. I do not know. Moya says, I feel a clean police record should be a requirement to even apply for work permit. We need to start a fingerprint database as of yesterday to start printing people upon entry into the islands. Printing. You mean scanning them? Well, you know, you guys might remember this, but apparently we spent a good penny. I want to say a couple $1 million, or at least something closer to hundreds of thousands of dollars on this fingerprinting fancy system that has never come to fruition. I cannot recall what the issue was with the machine, but we actually bought it as far as I remember. And then nothing happened, which is astonishing, really. But we in the Cayman Islands seem to find lots and lots of ways to waste money when we're ready. All right, check this one out. Are all in the air transport licensing of air services regulations. Is that a person on the ground? Are all in the air transport licensing of air services regulations. Are all in the air transport licensing of air services regulations. Listen to me, that's funny. Let's listen to it one more time. Are all in the air transport licensing of air services regulations. Wow, what did they hit the van? Are all in the air transport licensing of air services regulations. So that's spot straight. I'm trying to figure that accident out. That looks like, is that close to Ocean Club? I'm trying to figure out, is that the complex right before Ocean Club? I'm trying to figure that one out. But how do you have an accident like that in bumper to bumper traffic? I mean, literally you're going 5 miles per hour. I'd be curious to know how that one happened. Good morning, Miss Sophia. House, car, women, sex, and the love of money. Okay. Who is the work permit holder? Only God knows. These things they should start making public too, so we can see how many y'all are actually taking out these fake work permits for people. We should start having a list of every person who has a work permit and who holds the work permit. Y'all be surprised. Al Ray, good morning. He says morning. Al Ray has 2 dogs that are so funny. I love when he posts videos and stuff of his dogs. He's got a big, what type is the big dog, El Ray? He's a, or is it a she? I can't remember. I know the little one's a she, right? Is the big dog a Doberman? He looks like he could be. Rottweiler. Yes. And he's got like these little stories with the dogs. The little dog, they're both females. That's so interesting because the little one is always mounting the big one. She's always trying to exert some sort of power over the big dog. The big dog is just like sitting there rolling her eyes like, dog, get off me. Like, seriously, we're doing this again today. They are hilarious. Virtual says, speak, Sandy. That's one of the most favorite things that cracks me up is when people call in on the phone or on the live with breaking news. Well, these people are not calling in with breaking news. They're just calling because they want to talk to me. And then everybody's like, oh, I have to see you. Well, let me tell you, I see very few people, like for real, because it's easier for us just to have a conversation than for me to try to find time to sit down with you face to face and in person. And most people don't really need to see me. What they need to tell me, it's not really all that earth shattering. They feel like they need to see me because people still, especially older people, they still like that face-to-face contact. But a lot of times when I say, oh, you want to see me? Let me book you 3 months later. Then they're like, oh, I'll just tell you what it is. And it's not normally terribly earth shattering, right? DJ Yo-Yo is in the house. DJ Yo-Yo, help me find an XLR cable. DJ Yo-Yo says she's the reason I had to cancel my event because the 2 incoming artists had to do the extended quarantine. Really? No way. You see the trickle-down effect? So Al Ray said this year for sure. Oh, you guys have reached East End already? Nice. Yeah, fiber makes all the difference. Carmelie says they're in Bodden town. Wonderful. No, honey child. Miss Brenda says that she had better internet with the older modem since the fiber modem. No, you need to call somebody. Tech support needs to get to you and sort it out, because normally when you see something like that happening, Miss Brenda, there's something going on. So let me have a little tech moment with you. Let me have a little Tuesday tech moment. I'm going to explain something to you guys. Fiber in particular, right, is a much better conduit for speed. However, fiber is also a much more delicate conduit than copper. You ain't bending copper. You can sit on it. You can probably roll over it with a car. You can do all sorts of stuff to copper. You're not going to really harm copper. So copper is a much more, it's strong. Okay. By comparison, fiber is delicate. It's faster. It's a better conduit, but it is very delicate. So I have seen little things happen with fiber that you would be shocked to know that, you know, this could even happen. So a lizard gets in and gnaws on the fiber cable, and then all of a sudden your internet's acting up. You're like, oh, this fiber is crap, take it out, I don't want it. And you don't know that, you know, they didn't plug the hole properly with the fiber comes into the house, a little lizard got in there. These are real life stories that I've experienced. I've seen this happen to my customers before. They're like, oh, Miss Sandy, I have constant buffering. I'm like, something wrong. Let's call Flo. And when Flo goes there and the technicians have a look, they had to pull the fiber back out of the house. So having said that, sometimes it gets like a bend or something in it. And then that will impact the quality of what you're getting across the fiber line. So legit, you know, a lot of technicians will come out and they're like, Miss, we got to pull this fiber back and just rewire it, give you new fiber. So, but listen, with fiber, you can get 1,000 times as much bandwidth as copper. And it travels more than 100 times further as well. So, yeah. Fiber can be pretty fast. Now we're up to a gigabit. And so what I would suggest, Miss Brenda, is reach out to someone, because I feel like you probably got an issue with an installation or something else. Maybe it's modem specific. Sometimes, you know, I've noticed that this happens, that people actually, this happened a couple of weeks ago, maybe a month or two ago, actually. There was an update that was pushed out to the modems from Flo, and Flo don't tell you when they update the modems. They, you know, a lot of times it's like a security update or whatever. And then that started impacting the quality of like what the person was able to do. And it took a minute to figure this one out, because this one was really tricky, but we knew it was something specific to this client because nobody else was having an issue. And then I went in there with a portable modem, and I connected, and I could show the person that all the equipment, everything is working fine. And they were like, "Oh, this is weird." So when we escalated it to like tier 2 at Flo, one of the guys there, he was like, based on what I was telling him, he's like, we're going to test a few things. And sure enough, it was the update to that modem that actually made stuff stop working. It happens, technology. Oh, you've got an extra XLR cable. I literally, it's like going to be on the desk next to each other. So 3 feet, 6 feet is plenty. Ms. Brenda says she's tech IT illiterate. Oh, you'll get it, mama. Just know that fiber is better in many respects, but it's just that it's a little bit more, you can't quite handle it the same. You know? And by the way, here's something else you might not know about fiber, is fiber has a life cycle of 30 to 50 years, whereas copper was like 5 years. So, you know, this is good news. I think in the long run, once we have fiber throughout the entire island, you know, it's future proof in more ways than one, because you get this longer life cycle. It's lighter, and the energy that you consume across the fiber connection is also significantly less than copper. All these little things matter, you know. Yeah. So, yep. It's better in terms of security too. All right, tech moment over. Let's move on. Good morning. Calling Flo is like calling hell. They take forever to come out. No. Listen, El Ray works for Flo, honey child. So message him right now, DM him, and he'll get you sorted out. Now, y'all know there was a moment that Flo's customer service was kind of lagging, but they've made some significant improvements lately. I've witnessed it myself. I told you guys, was it last month, that we had somebody came in the neighborhood doing road works with that big rotor device. I don't know what it's called properly, but they went and cut the fiber cables. So we were without fiber. They did it, I think, like Friday morning. So we were without fiber for about 24 hours. But listen, Flo was out here Friday. They determined what the issue is. They realized what they needed to fix. Then they came back early Saturday morning, and they were out on the streets. They had to replace several pieces of it along the roadway, and they had us up and running in 2-2s, even in the rain, chill. I was like, you go, Flo. So hopefully you can get a hold of someone. Someone called me again this morning. What's going on with the phone this morning? The phone's just ringing off the hook. Aliano says no more driving tests. So the same person that called earlier and I said I was on air is calling again. Do you think that means they want to come on the show? Because I just texted them and said I'm on air, and they call me back. Let's see. Maybe they want to talk on the phone. DJ Yo-Yo, they should be there. Good morning. We're on air live. Are you trying to come on the show? But you must tell people this on air. You love how I act? Oh, my tweetums. I appreciate that. No, man, I must put you on air so everybody can hear you. All this love, we have to share the love. You have to share the positivity this morning. No. Hold on. Just repeat what you just said. No one's gonna think anything of it. She's a little bit shy. Hi. Morning. Yes, ma'am. Yes, you said you just called me to tell me what. Go ahead. Let the good people hear you.
You're a gorgeous lady. And I'm glad to know that somebody's taking up a claim on people. And you're talking the truth. And I love that. And keep up the good work. And we will all support you. Thanks.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. All right, my dear. Have a good day.
Good too.
All right. Oh, it's nice when people call just to say that they love you. Isn't that nice? She was a little shy about going on air. She actually changed her voice a little bit. She was like, oh, thank you. All right. Appreciate the love. Yes, I my girlfriend Mary, I don't know if Pastor's listened to the show this morning. She's like, people always tell you these things behind the scenes. What they need to do is start speaking out in public. And I said, that's true. I do get the point, but I also know how K-Man is, honey child. People be scared. North side, the internet is slow. North side, soon come, honey child. I feel like some areas of North side have it because I know that they do. But I believe that they went the other way. Like they came through Cayman, Kaibo area. And so maybe like North side central is still waiting, but it should be there soon. Brenda El Rey will sort you out. Actually, and I must tell you that this is good advice, everybody. Occasionally you should do a speed test because sometimes things are going on your network that you're not aware of. And I always explain this to people. I had a lady in Cayman Brac. She was having an issue. Now, Miss Carol, she might be listening to the show this morning. She lives literally here, and her sister lives the next house over, which is a stone's throw away. And the sister never has any issues. And Carol was having all these issues. And we did a speed test. I saw from her speed test alone that, she's getting a third of what her sister was getting. I said, Carol, call Flow, because this is something they can fix. She's like, I've been told because I'm under the bluff and I'm did it. And I said, call Flow. The Brac has fiber now. I'm like, call Flow. So sure enough, she made one phone call. And at first the guy was kind of like, customer service really does matter. And I feel like a lot of times it's all about leveling up on your customer service training. So they need to be retrained and retooled, right? And she said, the guy was like, Miss Carol, we can't do nothing for you. And she said, listen here, I got to go to Digicel and I'm going to do this. And he's like, all right, Miss Carol, I got to look at it. And since then, no word of lie, she's had no problems. She messaged me yesterday and she's like, Sandy, after I told him this, no more buffering. Everything's fine. It's been great. She says, ever since I went to Flow, my service is 100% better. And I said, well, what did you go to them and do? What did they come out and do? She said they didn't even come out to her. So whatever they did, they must have done it from the switch or something. And I said, well, I kept telling you for the past 2 years to give Flo a call. So sometimes you just need to get on it. So El Rey will sort it out, Miss Brenda. And if it is an installation issue, then sometimes that needs to be redone. I'm not there anymore, Yo-Yo, so you got to link me. I feel like I probably have an XLR cable somewhere, but it's one of those things where I don't want to be without it just in case. So yes, link me because I got a new board coming that's going to allow me to do the radio show and this show at the same time. And so once that board comes, and I got to connect everything, I'm going to go from USB. You see, I wasn't thinking of DJ Yo-Yo, but he can probably help me with some of this stuff. So I'm going to go from USB, which is now USB to the PC, and I'm going to go USB to the board through the XLR cable. Yep, El Rey, gotcha. All right. It's coming. Yep, there's the email address. Thank you. 747-5050. Or email them. El Rey, that's only emails upon emails in here. Ooh, she'll get you sorted. El Rey will get you sorted out. So DJ Yo-Yo points out that the big folks there have fiber. This is true. And they've had it for a couple of years, actually. That's what I was going to say. I think they came the other way to get all the millionaire homes first. And, a lot of times it's a business decision. Let's be very, very honest here. Even some places in Georgetown, they were focused on first before residential areas because it costs money to pull out copper. And do they pull out the copper, El Rey, or do they just leave it? What happens to the copper? Does that get removed? But to lay fiber is actually very expensive. It can be costly. And so I think initially it was going out to people who they knew would get the super fast speeds and whatever, and had no issues paying $300, $400, $500 a month to help cover the cost. And there's some businesses in town, I know this for a fact as well, who help pay for the install. They were like, not only will we sign a multi-year contract, but because we really need this internet, we will help pay towards the installation or whatever. There's something that they worked out with Flow. So Judy's waiting for West Bay. I do not know why West Bay, and again, this must be a business decision, I would think, seems to be kind of the last area of deep penetration for fiber. It really is shocking. And I know this again because I have a lot of customers in West Bay, and they're always like, when is fiber coming? And I can't really explain it. The terrain is no different. It's not like, oh, all of a sudden West Bay is mountainous and everybody isn't. So yes, Judy, it is very interesting. Yep. Maybe we can find out a bit more about that. I don't know. BT can't see fiber yet. This gets on my nerves. It should be pretty close though. I feel like it's not far. All right, so El Ray gotcha. He's our flow connection. So they do remove it. Wow. Is there any way to repurpose copper? Can you do anything with it? I know in Jamaica people steal copper. This is like for real. So can we sell that copper to anybody? Maybe there's some money to be made off of that. Like you can recoup some of the cost. One trip I went to Jamaica, and my mother-in-law lives in the country. And so her internet was down. And when the tech son, Marlon, was looking into it, come to find out when he checked, he still got all his Flow friends and his phone. He called them and they were like, oh yeah, somebody stole the fiber in that area. This is like the second time in a couple of years or whatever. And I'm like, who steals, not fiber, copper? I'm thinking to myself, who steals copper? This is one of those weird news things I feel only happens in Jamaica. I'm like, people steal copper to do what? And Marlon was like, Sandy, copper is valuable. It's copper. It's a metal. Like you can do stuff with copper. And I'm like, do stuff like what? I could not wrap my brain around why anybody would want to steal copper. But apparently in Jamaica, it's a thing. And so they go up on the poles, I guess, or dig it out of the ground. I don't even know where they had it laid. But they actually stole the copper. So she has Flow in Jamaica as well. They had to try to go back and lay it again for like the third time. And I guess try to secure it some way. I'm like, some people will steal the very drawers off your dog who are not really wearing drawers because they're just a bunch of thieves. My God. Raymond, Jonathan, good morning. Judy says there's not enough people living in the area. There's no business case. We're remote and too low density. But I feel like it's not just your area of West Bay. It's West Bay as a whole. And West Bay is West Bay not the most populated district in Cayman? I mean, I know that the eastern districts have grown significantly. But to my mind, West Bay has always been, that's why it had 4 representatives like Georgetown. It's been pretty dense. Good morning, Daniel. Daniel says not just in Jamaica, it happens on job sites here as well. Really? They're stealing copper here? I just never heard of it, I guess. Bunch of thieves. Wow. Carol reminds us that copper is actually worth a lot of money. Well, Brenda, apparently it's not trash. It's just that I didn't know the value of copper. So that's interesting. Thank you, Daniel and Carol, for giving us a little bit more insight. Flashpoint said that there's some areas that still can't get basic ADSL. The Flow team will have a chuckle on the other hand of the phone after not providing the paid for service after 1 year. Flashpoint, seems like you need to reach out to El Ray. El Ray, sorry, we're putting you to work early this morning. Okay. All right. A person says, my God, those were some hard 20 year, 29 years. She looks like she's pushing about 40. Girl, y'all need to stop sending me these messages. I can't help how people look. Not everybody ages the same. Some people have had a rough life too, When I was in college in Jamaica, my landlord, private house with an apartment attached, was stealing electricity from his neighbor. Thank goodness the neighbors paid their bill all the time on time. So your landlord in a private house with an apartment attached was stealing electricity from his neighbor, and they didn't know? Poor them. Remember the guy that was trying to break into Uncle Bill's yesterday? We think we might have a hit on who he is. Someone has identified who they believe it is, so the police will check that out. A crackhead, which would make total sense. So someone else says, morning, hopefully Stephanie will be sent back to Jamaica. I hope they fix that work permit issue with no job situation. Before getting a work permit, a work contract should have to be presented to Works, and this may help a bit. Yes, I think that there needs to be additional due diligence. But, anybody can probably type up a work contract. Again, that doesn't mean that the person actually has work. Maybe what they should do is they should, after like a couple months, require pay stubs and proof, like a bank deposit, something, proof that the money has actually been received by the worker. And if it hasn't been, then they revoke it and they mark that person. This is what I think needs to start happening, because the individuals who do this tend to be very habitual. It's like child molesters. They can't stop. Child molesters don't stop. They get put in jail. They come back out. They do the same thing. They rape in adults. They rape in children. They just try to find better ways of hiding it. So maybe what we need to do is employers that breach the immigration law in particular are red flagged as a persona non grata. So you give them enhanced due diligence, you scrutinize work permits a little bit closer. And then after maybe like a second breach, you put them on do not give a work permit to kind of list. And once people recognize that they are not going to be getting work permits, they might shape up. By the way, let me speak about this company called Bento. Since we're talking about work permit infractions, I do want to mention that some of you all need to do better. And we know who you are. This is the most egregious thing. So I received the following message on Friday. Let's talk about Bento. Because Bento, you need to do better. Okay? You have been breaching the law, and I actually found out that not only have you been breaching law, but apparently immigration has already given you a fine. And your workers are saying you continue to breach the laws. Whoa, 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 whoa. Employee jackass of the day coming right up. Here we go. Somebody sent this out. Says, good morning, team. This is my farewell to you all. It was a pleasure meeting you all, and I truly enjoyed working with you during my time here at Bento. Unfortunately for Bento, they have not abided by the labor law in many cases, while issuing warnings and termination documents to staff that I did not know about. And because I chose to be unbiased and voice my concerns, not only to cover myself from being framed by Paula Santos, Renan Neri, and Sarah Hanby, whoever the heck they are. No Caymanan names in that. Who's a Caymanan connection to Bento? Who are these people? But to be fair on all matters, Paula and Neri have been very disrespectful towards me, saying such things as, I'm sure you need the job because your daughter has surgery coming up. And yesterday I was sent home for writing an email to Paula and Neri about how Sarah verbally attacked me in the office yesterday morning, chasing me from the kitchen to my office. Ooh, child. What is going on over at Bento? Their plan is to fire every single one of you who make more than 25% commission. What? So Bento workers get paid commission? How does it work? I would have thought you just got like a hourly salary and maybe tips. How are the commissions paid? Based on what? Anyway, who is associated with Carmely, the last HR manager and anyone who complains. Do not be silenced. Whether you are on a permit or not, it is your right as an employee of Bento to speak up about something that is bothering you, and that you're supposed to listen, and they are supposed to listen and resolve any issues. Okay. Paula, Neri, and Sarah have done a list of fraudulent and shady things, including sending me home yesterday. After I let them know that Sarah would be receiving a written warning for being late almost daily. Well, who the heck is Sarah? It sounds like she's a manager. So how is the HR manager writing a manager up? I don't know. But anyway, inappropriate attire, which she received a verbal warning for on Monday this week, when myself and the dispatch team saw her butt and underwear when she bent over to pick up a box. Lord have mercy. Did she have a bento butt? It has been made very clear to me that Paula and Neri have been doing fraudulent things for a long time, and that they will continue to get away with it. But this time will be the last time. And I would highly recommend you all to either open your own business or start your job hunt. Okay, well, it's not easy to open your own business, child. I can't wrap my head around why Sarah thinks that anyone with any type of disability should not work for Bento. Oh, okay, what type of disabilities are we talking about here? All right, this is going from one thing to the next. It's discrimination and illegal to fire someone who has given 2 months notice to resign at the kindness of their heart and love for what they do as a job. Never been warned for anything, and one of the best performers simply because they don't like the person. Just know that after this message is received, I left here fighting for you all. Your rights are, as people, as an employee of a company, stand up for your rights. Remind these people where they are and where they come from. They're the ones that need to be here, all three of them. Well, seems like they still got the upper hand, child. Should you wish to apply to any of the below positions in either of my three companies, then they give information. I don't know who the company is. I don't know who this person is, but anyway. The worst thing Paula and Sarah did was to mess with a mother about her kid, an experienced and licensed businesswoman, a certified HR manager, accountant, and law student. Bye, guys. Well, I don't know who wrote this message, but I've heard a number of complaints about Bento outside of that. And someone says that they're paid $6 an hour, and then the commission is based on the delivery fee. So they get commission on top of that, I guess, on top of the hourly. Okay, so here's the deal, folks. Bento, my sources tell me, have actually been dealt with by way of works before. They have been, my sources said, they have been fined a hefty fine for breaches just last year. So when you have a company like this, someone says they get away with it because in court they're a limited company. Persons normally don't take blame, and the companies hold the liability. But it was quite a hefty fine that was paid from that company, is what I'm told. So that being the case, someone needs to explain to me how a company like that is continued, allegedly, to continue these breaches, and then what? Nothing happens? At some point, maybe those work permits need to get stamped. No. Labor, where's the labor department? Because remember, you've got immigration, labor, two very, very different departments. How much are they communicating with each other? I don't really know. So who is Paula and Nari? They're Caymanians? Who's the Caymanian partner? She came from Let's Eat. Who's she? Paula or Nari is a man or woman? Paula came from Nari, from Let's Eat. Anyway, I don't care where they came from. The law is the law, folks. And you need to do better, is what I can tell you. And it seems like this company has some complaints that are really, really starting to rake up now. Get your stuff together. because we don't really want to have to do an expose on you, but we will if we have to. You don't want to be featured on CMR for breaking law. Magdalene says labor, September, working from home, can't get them any time of the day. No, man, you can get, well, I don't know about everybody, but I had to call Sasha Rankin a couple weeks ago and she picked up on the second ring. So Magdalene, maybe WhatsApp me and I'll send you her number because she's answering the phone. I don't know about anybody else. And I did speak to Mr. I had to try to sort out something for a client. What was his name again? Ford. Dwayne Ford. And he's answering too. So maybe you just call the wrong people. I don't know. But I got some direct numbers I can give you. Brazilians. And how do they get to own a business in Cayman? Who's the Caymanian partner? That is true. Ms. Brenda says a fine is not a punishment when you can afford to pay it. And this happens all the time. Even some of these big time law firms, you hit them with a hefty fine. They're like, oh, please. We make that in our sleep. We're snoozing and making that money. So, Jamelia is asking why put in work permits when you can get plenty of Caymanians, when you have plenty of Caymanians that can do the job. Jamelia, have you been sorted out by those people with that ex gratia payment yet? Jonathan is saying that the Labor Department's lazy. I mean, I don't know. I can tell you that when I called recently, they did answer the phone. I did get through. Okay, so we'll discuss. Somebody sent me some information from the Economics and Statistics Office on population breakdown. So yes, West Bay is the most populated area. The second most populated area after Georgetown. And so in terms of internet, I think there could be a business case there. Eduardo De Angelo and Flavio Franca. Those are the Caymanian partners. None of them sound Caymanian, but I guess they have status by now. Interesting. Sounds like I need to have a chat with them. Flavio, his name sounds familiar. I think I've been in contact with him about that wannabe scammer. What's his name? Garfield Rob. I think he got scammed by him. All right. I see Curtis posting some nice photos of his dog, Luna Connolly. She's pretty. She's also a Rottweiler. Partnership is from Brazil too. Is Bento like a Brazilian company? Virtua says, I think we need to clear up, deport, send home those who don't need to be here because we have a lot of wrongdoers here, plus our own. Put our people and those who are legal to work and train who need training. A lot of foolishness is being tolerated in this country that is skirting on the outside of the law. Nat B says, easy fix. You don't have to use Bento until they sort out their immigration labor issues. I believe in sending companies a very, very clear message through your support of those companies. And there are companies that I don't do business with because they don't hire Caymanians or they treat people, generally speaking, really, really poorly. I've never used Bento, I must be honest. Yeah, I've never used them. I don't use delivery services that much. I just go get my own food. But I know during the lockdown, they were a godsend. All right. Stuart Jack, the former governor of the Cayman Islands, passed away. Didn't say what he died from, but he was 72 years old. You know, I guess that's an all right age. A lot of people live into their 90s quite well. And so, yes, the governor issued a statement as well as the premier expressing their condolences. And the really interesting thing about it is he was here during the tempura. So he was here 2005 to 2009, and he was here during the entire tempura fiasco. So you guys might remember tempura. Remember, this was the case. It was the most bizarre thing, but they got some tip about something, and it was intermingled with the complaints about the judiciary. Tempura ruined a lot of careers because wasn't even Judge what was her name again? Judge Levy. What was her first name? Anyway, wasn't she mixed up in that because somebody was writing these anonymous letters and complaining about the judiciary, and they were saying that it was her, and then they started investigating her, and eventually she was removed from the bench, and it was just a hot mess. I mean, her career ended in a bit of a disgrace. It was led by Martin Bridger, a retired UK police officer. And this was some investigation between 2007 and 2009. Some $10 million wasted. The legal department blamed the Operation Tempura for $2.7 million consultant bill. The whole thing was just a fiasco, and all of this happened under, you guys might not remember this, but it all happened under Stuart Jack's watch. So it went as far as in 2017, Martin Bridger, who was a senior investigator of Operation Tempura, claims that the allegations made against him amid the fallout of the discredited police corruption probe was vindictive. So in 2017, they announced that the case against him had been closed and there'd be no charges. And he was saying that he was just the fall guy. Well, this went on for a really long time. And it cost the people of the Cayman Islands a lot of money. Headlines like Tempura report missing key evidence. Governor releases Tempura documents. That was in 2016, many, many years after it happened. So the whole thing was just a hot mess. Over $10 million was alleged to have been spent on this situation. Coming out of the public purse, that's the people's money. At least $10 million. Justice, you guys might remember, Alex Henderson got a $2-point-something million payout because they went and falsely arrested him. Served a warrant on a sitting judge. I mean, the whole thing was just unbelievable. So, when people die, they always say, well, if you don't have anything good to say, don't say anything at all. But here in CMR, we believe in being honest, first and foremost. And the honest truth is, in this country, he probably won't be remembered for much else other than the Tempura fiasco. Remember, this is where they went in. They also raided the office of Cayman News Service. Isn't that crazy to think that they could do such a thing? It's just, it went from one administration into the next. And it took years and years and years and years. At one point, Stuart Kernahan was suing them. He eventually dropped his lawsuit. There was all sorts of secret police stuff going on. secret documents. It was just unbelievable. A cluster situation like none other. What a hot mess. Well, it brought up a lot of questions about who has our best interests at heart. The UK doesn't really, in case you missed that memo. I feel like sometimes we're a pain for them to even have to deal with. Anyway, rest in peace, sir. Judge Levers. Yes. But Miss Brenda has a good memory. Priya Levers. What was I saying just now? I got her name completely wrong. She says the most unfortunate matter, she was maligned. I think she was just one of those people that on the bench, she spoke a lot of truth that people didn't necessarily like. And so she wasn't always like the nicest person on the bench. I mean, I think she was just very, I don't think a judge has to be nice, but she was just very rough sometimes with the things that she would say. But listen, you know how many people who show up to court need a little tough love? They need to hear that, you're suing this guy for child support and you're talking about the money that you need, but honey, you're not helping yourself because you keep going out there having all these children. Make it make sense. I can't really say that I have an issue with it. Huh. Oh, that's interesting. Thank you for sharing that little tidbit with me. Hold on one second. I'm going to show you guys something. So it was a hot mess. Condolences to his family. I'm sure he'll be missed by them. Miss Sue says 72 is young. I think by most standards, it is still pretty young. But I don't know what killed him. I mean, they didn't really say. So, it could be anything. Speaking of people dying young, I was really shocked over the weekend to find out that my, shopping merchandiser, purchasing manager over at Price Right, his name is Mr. Jim Cullen, that Jim passed away. I couldn't believe it. I was very fond of Jim. He was a good guy. I don't know what happened to Jim. He lost a lot of weight some years ago. I think he was trying to get healthier and that sort of thing. And unfortunately, he passed away. I couldn't believe it. So our condolences go out to his family. You would oftentimes see him walking around quietly, cost you less, and sometimes you'd see him in Foster's as well, just going about his business, looking at stuff on the shelf, purchasing. He was a purchasing manager, so he was in charge of purchasing stuff. And on a couple occasions, Jim was a person that I had to go to. Like if I was trying to bring in something very, very specific, he was like my guy. I'd tell him like what I needed, and he would say, okay, let me see what I can do, Sandy. And he would, source items for me, and he'd give me a price. And he was always a super nice guy. Only 58 years old. I'm going to show you a picture, Jim, because I couldn't believe it. When I heard that he died, I was like, what? When? How? So unexpected. They just found him at home. I was like, oh my God. Horrible. So condolences to Jim's family. He was a really nice guy. I must tell you. Thank you, Yo-Yo. Yo-Yo says stuff is happening because they're paying under the table commission to the right people. That makes things look legit. Wow. Delcy says Judge Judy, Judge Levers was like Judge Judy. Yeah, she kind of took no prisoners, to be honest. And not everybody liked that. And I think that was unfortunate. Good morning, Jackie. I'll go through the schedule here in a second. Not today, though. I think it starts on Saturday. We wish we could send the UK a bill. I don't recall that being said, so I'm not too sure about that. But here's Jim in his Price Right uniform. Really nice guy. Like I said, he was just, there doing his thing. So he was the purchasing manager, always trying to find us good deals. And sometimes he'd bring something in. I'd say, hey, Jim, are you going to get this back? And he would say, no, that one's going to be a little bit more challenging to get in because it was like a, last item, like a discounted item or whatever that we got at a really good deal. He was awesome. He was really phenomenal. He brought in a big screen TV for me. And then when the first one was broken and wasn't working, he said, no problem, Sandy. He said, I actually anticipated that would happen. So I brought two in. Like he was very much good at his job as well. He brought in patio furniture, my daughter's play set, because I wanted something very specific. And I'd be like, can you source this for me? And he'd get me the landed costs and everything. Amazing guy. So rest in peace, Jim. Sorry to hear of your passing. I tell you, people dropping down left, right, and center, child. Someone in WhatsApp said, oh, yes, Jim was super helpful. Sad to hear of his passing. Sometimes people disappear and you don't even know like what has happened to them. And yeah, sad. All right. My husband says I'm supposed to have a cable that came with another mixer. Ay. Way too young. Absolutely. 58 years old. All right. Speaking of people passing, Miss Brenda just reminded us. Thank you, Miss Brenda. Dr. Paul Farmer, who was an infectious disease expert, has passed away. Let me see if I can find a picture of Dr. Farmer. He was 62 years old, and he devoted his life to fighting deadly epidemics the world over, and particularly in Haiti. So he worked quite closely with Haiti because, obviously Haiti has a lot of issues. Pretty smart guy. And he was, how old was he? 70. Hold on one second. 62, sorry. He was, again, relatively young. So I don't feel like death respects any age, really, but so here he is. Let me tell you a little bit about him in case you've never heard of him before. That's him with his wife and his family. And there he is. So Dr. Farmer was known as a tireless advocate for Haitians and global health crusader who devoted his life to delivering healthcare to millions of people in 4 continents. He died Monday in Rwanda. His organization, Partners in Health, confirmed his demise. He was a doctor, a renowned infectious disease specialist, and medical anthropologist. Who knew there was such a thing? He was also a teacher at heart, and he took on the world's deadly epidemics and urged donors and governments to support healthcare for the poor. He often said that a person's place of birth should not decide their access to good healthcare, and he regularly stressed with his trademark "do whatever it takes" attitude. So the cause of his death was not immediately known, but it appears that it might have just been an acute cardiac event. So in other words, a heart attack. Said a spokesperson for Partners in Health, which is a nonprofit global charity that Farmer co-founded in 1987 in rural Haiti, and today is based in Boston. The charity announced on Monday that he had died unexpectedly in his sleep. They issued a statement that the charity's CEO, Dr. Sheila Davis, said Paul Farmer's loss is devastating, but his vision for the world will live on through Partners in Health. Paul taught all around him the power of accompaniment, love for one another, and solidarity. So he was born in West Adams in Western Massachusetts, grew up in Florida. He lived in Miami with his wife, Dee Dee Bertrand Farmer, whom he met in Haiti. So she's Haitian. And they had 3 children, Catherine, Elizabeth, and Charles Sebastian. And he actually taught at Harvard as well. So he went to Haiti in 1983 with a Reverend LaFontant, and that's when he recognized really what the true situation is in Haiti. And he became committed to trying to improve their lives, and he decided to study infectious diseases at Harvard Medical School. And then in 1987, they set up this foundation with a number of other physicians as well. So the charity work has included working in countries like Peru, Russia, and across Africa, including Rwanda, where he was, followed by the Navajo Nation in Mexico. And the expansion would coincide with the rise of the world's most pressing humanitarian crises, which included HIV and AIDS, tuberculosis, cholera, Ebola, Zika, chikungunya, and now SARS-CoV-2 and COVID-19. So quite a well-respected guy. Did a lot in his 62 years. It said that he preferred to be behind the scenes, but he was always actively working. All right, so our condolences to his family as well. So let's do an update on Miss Street. Remember now, this is a lady who, thank you, Miss Hope. I'm sure his family appreciates that as well. Really nice guy. So yes, let's talk about Miss, what's her first name again? She went by Ruth, but that's not her real name. I've got a bit of an update. So this was a lady, you guys remember, who came on the show. Kevin, do we have those videos? Anyway, Kevin did some video clips. She came on the show and said, basically, she was living in a laundromat, having to sleep in a laundromat, bathing on the beach, because she's being kicked out of the only home she'd known for the past 22 years, that she was married to Mr. Street. And you know, Patrick Street is the stepson. And so she has been made to move out of the property. Now, quite interestingly enough, we were all wondering how this happened. And now we know. The puzzle has been solved. So let me show y'all the documentation that kind of has put the pieces together. Okay. So let me show you. So we figured that somebody had signed something and transferred the property and she just didn't know. Well, now we know. We got the transfer documents. Another mystery solved. Here's the document right here. Now, it might be hard to see that, so let me tell you essentially what the document says. As a matter of fact, let me see if I can open it. Because what we got here going on, folks, is at some point, I'm going to give you guys the dates and everything. Mr. Street transferred the property. He just didn't bother to tell his wife about it. Ay, ay, ay. This is what happens when you get into a little situation with people who are not always thinking. Well, let me show y'all what went on here now. So we thought that maybe they had her sign something because she was signing stuff and not really understanding what she was signing. And that's never a good thing. You do not sign things, folks, if you don't know what you're signing. People could be having you sign away your life and you wouldn't even know it. So give me 1 second. I'm just waiting on this computer to pull up this document here so I can show you guys exactly what went on. Here we go. All right, let me do a screen share because with a screen share, I can make it a little bit bigger so everybody can see what this is all about. So give me 1 second. I'll pull it out that way and we'll do the screen share instead. Okay. Can everybody see this document? Should I make it a little bit bigger? Because this was quite puzzling. So here we have let's go to the other one first. This is the order that it was done in. So this is a transfer of land document. This is a title, transfer title, basically, right? And some of you may have seen this before if you've ever bought or sold land or had it transferred for love and affection. This is what the document looks like, block and parcel number. So Leonard Street transferred this by love and affection to, he says, his son and wife. Now, I do have a bit of an issue with this, folks, because who he was transferring it to actually wasn't his wife. That was his ex-wife. So was he of his right mind when he said he was transferring this to his wife? Did he even know who his wife was at that point in time? I'm not really sure. It seems a little bit confusing to me. But supposedly, he was doing it to his son and wife. That's what it says. And he named Leonard Street, Patrick Street. Oh, I think that's supposed to say, yes, Leonard Street, Patrick Street. Yep. So it seems like to me, and this is very, very bizarre, that he was the sole title owner of the property as of this date anyway, before this date, I should say. And then on the 4th of September, 1996, Leonard Street, yes, transferred this property to Eloise Street, It says Eloise, Leonard, and Patrick Street, and the presence of the Assistant Registrar of Lands. They did it for love and affection, so they didn't have to pay any stamp duty. Dated this 4th day of September, 1996. Now, as you guys remember, he didn't die until 2000 and, what was it, 19? So you have a situation here, folks, where you have someone, aka your husband, who is transferring property to his ex-wife, and you don't even know anything about it. Wow. I'm confused. And then you go for years. Your husband of 20-something years doesn't tell you that on the 4th day of September, 1996, he went into the Registrar of Lands and transferred your matrimonial home to his ex-wife and his children? What the what? And they sat on it. Nobody told poor Miss Street. Then the husband dies. They wait a couple years, and then they give her notice to get out. Wow. No, sir. Well, let's look at the next document. This is the deletion on death of a joint proprietor. So he basically added them to the properties, what he did. Now that he's dead, they go, oh, let's take him off. Let's get rid of him. So we, Patrick Street and Eloise Street, hereby apply for the proprietorship section of the above parcel to be amended as follows. That the name of the joint owners, as now shown, be deleted, and a new entry made to show the name with the exception of Leonard Street, because he's now dead. Says he's deceased. And they've attached his death certificate. And that happened shortly after his death. I can't remember what, trying to remember now. What day he died, but he died at some point in 2019, right? So they didn't wait for long, I can tell you that much, before removing the husband in 2019. There it is. So between 2019 and 2022, which is a couple years, well, nobody really explained to this woman that this has happened. See, this is the part that is really strange. And so her own husband, as I suspected, really, is the one who ultimately put her in the situation that she's in now, why she's homeless. What a mess. How could he do this? Does he understand Leonard Street, what he was doing? I mean, he seemed like a simple man, so it's entirely possible that he didn't understand what he was doing. But there you have it, folks. You see the transfer, adding them on. You see where they removed him upon his death in 2019. I don't know what documents they had her sign. We still haven't been able to figure that part of the puzzle out. But there it is. Wow. I don't know. I just don't know what's going to happen to her. Well, it looks like she's out of the property and she's got to find somewhere else to go. Let me say this, especially when you're in your older years. And there's a lot of people in this situation, a lot of Caymanians as well, believe it or not, who've been married for 40, 50 years. And back in those days, the husband did everything. So he acquired the property, he built the house. The wife was the homemaker, she had the children, she sustained the home. Sometimes the wives worked equally as hard outside of the home, because inside the house is hard work too. So they were making a contribution. But on paper, it's just the husband's name. And one day, he's now 75 years old. He falls down and hits his head. And the Spanish lady or the Jamaican lady or whoever next door starts to look awfully good. And he decides to leave you and kick you out of the matrimonial home and you have nothing. Word of advice, elderly people. It's not unheard of that in your 60s, 70s, and 80s, you might be homeless because your spouse or former spouse has made a decision that is just crazy. Try to get a look at your land papers and sort it out. Don't allow yourself to be caught in this legal quagmire of a situation, because I don't even know what else to call it. It's a hot mess. Because you would be surprised. And I've heard of some stories. I know one in one of the eastern districts, that poor woman, if she knew what she was doing, she'd mix him a little extra sauce in that oatmeal she's making him every morning, trying to keep him alive, because she's cooking for him, cleaning for him, doing all the wifely duties in terms of like housekeeping, that sort of thing. But he's not even. Listen, the man naive. Let me put it that way. Bring his dirty clothes home for her to wash and clean, but yeah, they got a woman. And so the question comes up, what if he goes and borrows like on the house in order to make this woman happy, to give her a new car, a new whatever? I said, well, honey, that's going to be your debt. You better believe he's going to be leaving it for you. In that case, you got to sort yourself out. Because if you're not on the title, the person, as you can well see in this situation, can do whatever they want with the property. And you would have no idea. If you're in that type of relationship, and none of us know that you're in that type of a relationship until it happens after the fact. And you're like, my husband did what? Yeah. Your loving husband of 20 years, of 22 years, of 30 years, of 40 years has left you in a situation where you don't even own the house that you lived in all that time. You can't even stay there into your real golden years. Somebody's kicking you out and you got to sleep on a laundromat floor. Very, very horrible. Sort yourself out, folks. I need to call Miss Street. Trying to remember her phone number now. She did call me one day last week, but I'm going to call her. Actually, let's see if we can get her on the phone. What is her phone number again? Let me just see here if I can find it. So these are some lawyers that I had trying to help her out that have discovered this. And what they got is a writ of possession. Cecile Cunningham Street. So they were actually able to, let me show you guys this writ of possession in case you've never seen one. These are good documents to know what they look like. So when you get served one, you understand what is actually going down. Okay. So Mr. Street went and transferred the property. And I reckon his wife didn't realize what was going on. Now, why he would do that, only God knows. It really makes me question what is wrong with him. Oops. All right, let me see. We're going to call Miss Cecile and give her the not so good news.
I'm sorry.
Okay. We'll get a hold of her and tell her what's going on. Sad situation, folks. Really, really sad situation. I don't think there's anything that she can do at this point except find a new place. And you know how this is going to work, folks. Unfortunately, this is going to be now on our dime, the people of the Cayman Islands. And to me, that's especially egregious. She's going to now become an NAU client because of the negligence of her husband. And we will take care of her for the rest of her natural life. I'm pretty sure of that. This is, a lot of these situations are happening, unfortunately. And, the elderly are being taken advantage of in a way because this should not have happened. But poor Miss Cecile, had she known better, had she understood what she was actually married into. She doesn't have any family. No, her daughter, she had a daughter that died. The two of them had a daughter, and the daughter died. So what are we going to do? I would love to speak to Mr. Leonard, but he's obviously dead. To ask him, why? What were you thinking? What was going on here? But, again, these women grew up in an era where they didn't ask any questions about the finances of the household. All they know is that the bills got paid and the husband was doing his part and paying it. If they had a little side hustle or a little side job, their primary role was making sure he was fed and his clothes was washed and this, that, and the next thing. That was it. Not good news, not a good ending to that story, folks. But I think that, unfortunately, there's not much else that can be done in that situation. All right. Let me just see if we have anything else that was pressing for today. I want to talk about, there's a new study about ivermectin. We can maybe talk about that tomorrow. Okay, so the childhood vaccines, let me tell you what the schedule is. If you're interested in getting your children vaccinated, there's a very specific schedule for them that is separate and apart from. We'll post this up on the website here as well, but here's the schedule. So starting with this Saturday, there will be a clinic from 9 a.m. until 3 p.m. And then on Monday, there's an evening clinic at the Arc at Camana Bay from 5 p.m. until 7 p.m. And then they're back again on Saturday at the Bodden Town Clinic. So they're making their way through the districts. So Georgetown Hospital first, Camana Bay, Bodden Town, West Bay. Then they go back on March the 9th to the hospital, and then they go to the East End Civic Center. When are they getting to the Sister Islands? I don't see the Sister Islands on here anywhere. I'll have to ask if they will be doing any vaccination clinics for the Sister Islands. So that's the current schedule. We'll stick this up on the website and on social media as well if you're interested in the schedule, folks. So starting on Saturday, it all kicks off. Okay, I think that's all we've got for you today. I've got a number of meetings that I must attend to myself. So I will certainly get on those today. Today is going to be quite a busy day, meeting with a few clients and also sending out quite a number of documents and stuff as well today. Okay, folks. Have a good one. Stay blessed, not stressed. And we shall be back here tomorrow morning. Until then, take care.
Thank you for tuning in to another edition of The Cold Hard Truth. Make sure to check Facebook for showtimes and more information and the latest news at CaymanMarlRoad.com. Subscribe to our IG and Facebook pages to get the latest happenings.